This is a Cameroon journal editorial titled, "Where Do We Go From Here?" Again, the subject is, "Where do we go from here?" On Wednesday, August 30th, Paul Biya, our neighboring president in La République du Cameroon, issued, as usual, one of his presidential decrees discontinuing the military trial of Agbobala, Anya Paul, Fontem Neba, and others whom we really don't know yet. The timing of the release couldn't have been more suspicious. Schools are scheduled to commence the 2017-18 academic year in 3 days. Southern Cameroonian nationalists have sworn upon their dead bodies that schools are not resuming, not until dependable solutions including freedom for all detainees and the demilitarization of the two regions are effected. In his feeble mind and in confirmation to the point we have made again and again, that the school subject remains the only action that we have embarked upon that is actually hurting the regime, Paul Biya released our brothers. He was advised to release them so that we should take it for good faith and reciprocate by way of softening our stance on school shutdown and, of course, allow children to get back to school come September 4th. In some social media platforms, some called for conference calls to plan celebrations for the release. Many others, however, welcomed the development with lots of skepticism. But everyone is wondering and questioning, what do we do now? Where do we go from here? Do we soften up and let schools to resume? Do we call off self-defense? What about the October 1 proclamation? Do we now go for dialogue? Or better still, what is the way forward? Many are asking. How naive it is for those who took to celebration to think even for a moment that Mr. Biya is acting in good faith. We all are aware that in Cameroon, it takes just a presidential decree for things to happen. If Paul Biya is really acting in good faith, why did it have to take him 10 months to sign this piece of paper releasing our brothers? If he is acting in good faith, where was this same good faith when our people were killed, raped, tortured, internet shut down, and billions worth of property destroyed in the northwest and the southwest? And where is he even now as we speak, that people are being snatched out of their homes at gunpoint in the northwest and southwest and taken to torture chambers in Yaoundé? We should not by any means, especially to our federalist compatriots, think even for a moment that Biya has suddenly become born again and is now ready to face the crisis head on. Not at all. He remains the old shrewd fox that he's always been. So with this presidential bribe, should we reciprocate by allowing schools to resume in our regions? Of course not. We do well to remember that Agbobala and others were never arrested because they shut down schools. And neither were schools shut down because of them. They were arrested because they demanded a fair system that treats English-speaking Cameroonians as equals with their French counterparts. They were arrested because they demanded a return to the federal system. In fact, schools were already shut down before that demand was made. So how then can anyone in good conscience, considering the circumstances and those who have paid the supreme price, those who are still behind bars now, those who are now living in exile, and above all, the fact that nothing has changed, how can they suggest that we should allow schools to resume? If anything, what we have learned through this development is that our tactics are working, and we should not be about to let it go. The Skakuf Governing Council now has its biggest test so far. The interim government owes Southern Cameroonians, especially in the homeland, a clear message of direction and why we must hold on to the struggle even more than ever before. The chairman should officially address the nation, explaining in no vague terms the hope that lies ahead and why we are not about to compromise. The president should present our people with a roadmap that clearly states where we are and the direction we are taking from here. At the Cameroon Journal, it is our opinion that dialogue cannot be an option right now. It is off the table. We cannot talk dialogue when our territories remain militarized. We cannot talk dialogue when many others are still being held behind bars, even when the president says he has signed a decree to release them. As much as we appreciate the role that Agboola and other detainees have played in this revolution, we must not forget one thing. This struggle isn't about any one person or group of persons. It is about a nation, a people. And so if some people think that because they have been released, and now is a time to dialogue, maybe they should rather be putting more and more pressure on the regime to complete the release of those who are still behind bars. The way forward should be, number one, to release all the remaining detainees and officially allow all the exile leaders of the consortium and the SCNC to return home. And of course, withdraw the military occupation from the streets of the southern Cameroons. This is only the first step. The second step should be to summon a dialogue forum that is moderated by neutral bodies, a forum that deliberates. Take note, not on the grievances we have made for years, but one that deliberates on the modalities of a referendum in the southern Cameroons. Because this struggle is not going to be over, not until southern Cameroonians have been made to choose by themselves what form of government they want. The dialogue forum must arise with specifics as to the date for such a referendum, failing which the whole exercise would have been useless. As a demonstration of good faith and perhaps a way to reciprocate the recent development, the Southern Cameroon Governing Council should suspend all October 1st manifestations and proclamation, but not without making it clear to La République du Cameroon the time frame they are offering them to fulfill all the listed conditions. Should the government of La République du Cameroon agree to follow this roadmap and commit to a date for the referendum coming out of the dialogue forum, maybe we can once more reciprocate by allowing schools to resume in our territory pending the results of the referendum. At the Cameroon Journal, we believe that this brief articulation should constitute the way forward. A precise day for a referendum must be agreed upon coming out of any dialogue forum so as to avoid what happened in 1991 at the Tripartite Conference. Participants were asked to come up with an instrument that should best serve the multicultural and linguistic nature of the country. They did, but everything ended up as suggestions and were useless because they were never implemented. For Barrister Agboola and others, we hope that once out, they get the message plain and clear that while they were in prison, the struggle took another turn, and that if they have to represent our interests at any level, they must do so selflessly and in the interest of the vast majority. Right now, we have them for the face of this struggle in the homeland, something we didn't have in the past 9 months. We hope that collaboration is initiated immediately with the leadership in exile for the purpose of harmonizing positions. We will denounce and deny them should they take us to uncharted waters, or better still, if they sell the revolution. We are watching. Again, this came to you from the Cameroon Journal, and you can read the scripts of this editorial at CAMEROONJournal.com. And you can write to us at editor@CAMEROONJournal.com. Again, the email address is editor@CAMEROONJournal.com. I am Chris Anu, and thanks for listening today.